Why, hello there. Once again, ladies and gentlemen. It is yet another night in Odessa. Dark clouds formlessly mingle over the sky, covering the light of the moon and the stars. The town is lit by the torches of belligerent soldiers and city watch guards, patrolling the numerous districts of the city and the territories that reside beyond its walls. In an alleyway just a block down the road, there are the desperate screams of a young man being dragged away to the city jail for breaking the curfew. Along the road, a guard drives by in a corpse wagon, blood being cleaned up off the streets. Another criminal removed from the presence of the great city of Odessa. But as these people, both criminals and victims, fail to hide from their pursuers among the military, among the city watch, there is another who manages to escape their watchful gaze. One who thrives underneath the lightless sky of tonight, and that gentleman is Menmon.
Yes. Memnon, having met with both success and failure, he has gained some wisdom and some more experience in stealthily evading the watchful military during the curfew. Getting from his domain outward has become a little bit easier now that he has found some familiarity with the byways and alleyways of his domain. And he is striking out towards Zoya Atuare's own haven, or I should say place of business. Perhaps two are one and the same.
As you make your way down, the brothel known as the Blooming Rose is rather quiet tonight. Curfew and all. The guards that kind of run the business, they're on the inside, they're not actually on the outside. They allow you entry. They know you as a face that does business with the matron of this place. Not actually as a customer. Maybe a light customer. Maybe you fed off a couple prostitutes here and there. But largely on a standing of business above their pay grade to question. Um, the area is largely lightless, or rather, the halls of the brothel itself, the rooms. Few, if any, of them have light. Uh, there are no torches lit, just candles here and there. Almost like they're trying to hide the fact that this place is open at night from the military. Not that, of course, they're out on the streets, but still, they wouldn't want to warrant any unneeded suspicion. And you know where to head to find Zoya.
Mm-hmm.
You just walk through the foyer, past the main room. And once you pass the main hall, it's just in sort of a small corridor. You walk down the corridor, kind of at the top left side of the room. And then there are a bunch of the doors, and Zora is probably in one of these rooms.
Finding his way to Zoya's own personal quarter. If there is a door closed, he would knock. If not, he would still announce himself with some kind of rapping, perhaps in an entryway. He does not spot her right away, of course.
No. Could you roll me... One moment as I look this up. Alerts, you need to roll me perception, awareness.
Don't have any awareness.
Where is the stupid book? There is a stupid book. Perception, awareness, really? And it is going to be difficulty. Oh no, it's perception occult, difficulty 8.
Ah, okay. Does my acute sense of sight come into play?
No. Not on this. Actually, yeah, I'll say it will, actually.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I'll just go ahead and apply it. 4 successes. There's something wrong with the shadows around you. You can't put your finger on it. They're not writhing unnaturally. They're not animate. But you sense a presence in them.
Like something is watching me through them?
Yes, precisely that.
Okay. Suppose Memnon will proceed to the room. He'll be very leery. I mean, his gaze won't fall on shadows after getting the sense for too long, but yeah, he's kind of just watching his back. He somewhat expects that if he doesn't see Zoya, Zoya would probably see him.
Do you continue knocking on the door?
Yeah, he does.
Okay. Well, there's no answer. But you can tell by with the force you knock the door because of potence that the door appears to be open. It's not locked.
Okay. Proceeding inside, does he see anything? Or anyone, to be specific?
No, but you see the door to the basement level is open. Rather,
And
the
I.
floor beneath the basement would be more accurate.
Okay. Memnon will wonder if this is the same entryway by which he came the last time that he visited Zoya. He may briefly call out, Zoya, it is Memnon. I have come. He might wait for a response.
One moment.
No problem.
I hear nothing.
Memnon hears nothing. Okay. Then, I guess he'll. Now you said that it was an opening in the floor, not a doorway, right?
It's
So
a
what you said.
door.
Oh, okay. It's a door.
Leads
Okay.
down 2 floors, so second basement floor.
Okay. Memnon will proceed downward. In the room, in the room just before that doorway, is there anything in there? I would not suspect that there's a torch or a candle or anything, is there?
It's very dark out here. It's hard to see. No torches, no nothing.
All right. Then yeah, he'll continue his way down. Cautiously.
I should say there are torch sconces, but looks like they've been snuffed out.
Right. Yeah, Memnon, we'll just take note of them, but he'll proceed on without them. Going down the going through the doorway and descending to the next level below.
To make your way through, you open the door. See the rat holding what appears to be an orb of shadow in both hands. Well, not holding, but kind of like they've got their hands around it. They're not physically holding it. It is an orb of absolute darkness, and behind it is, well, it is the oubliette you have seen before. It is turbulent. It is, needless to say, extremely difficult to see in here. There are 2 torches by the door, but their light is weak right now. It's the only real form of light in the room.
Does Memnon have to make a courage roll for this?
Have you seen this before? Let me make a check.
This is what I think it is. I've seen someone else do it, but I'm not sure if this is what I think it is.
Okay. The shadow looks up at you. And the orb in their palms evaporates back into the oblivion. Or rather, it is tributed to it. It is given, as it is then absorbed.
Memnon would
You actually, yeah. Go ahead.
no, Memnon would just see if this creature is looking up at him. He's just going to give it what recognition he can and just ask, Zoya, is that you?
In a fairly callow and slightly shallow voice, but familiar. You hear the shadow say yes.
Excuse me. Um, somewhat relieved, though I suspect surprised. Memnon would just ask if he may enter. Not sure exactly what her temperament is at the moment.
You have already come this far. Step in.
Yes. Memnon proceeds in, and he will say, "After so long, I have returned. Forgive my tardiness."
Do not worry. I have already arranged for amends.
Well, I
You are
am here.
almost ready.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, as you were saying.
And she just says, you are almost ready.
Memnon will say, I've I've been considering our very first conversation, and I hope that I have a little bit more wisdom in my understanding of what it is you do and what you expect of me. The abyss and its forces are a thing I believe must be guarded, both from and against the powers of it, too tumultuous to be unleashed upon the world en masse.
You have studied. You have become wiser. You have also struggled, and you have become stronger. But I see that your passion for construction, for building, has distracted you from this.
Hmm. that is true. It does facilitate their affairs, and business has been booming, oddly enough. It would, well, as many Canaanites as I've come across, once you mention to them that you can craft blades and shields, they don't seem to be as open talking about the mysteries or the occult.
The shadow nods. You are still within a light, at least part of you. So, forgive me, but you must be fast-tracked.
Is there something amiss? A emergency?
Roll initiates to the abyss.
I'm sorry, what was that, Chris?
Right, she says, all initiates to the abyss. Upon all, the first thing they always learn is to see through the darkness they have studied and engorged themselves upon. It is as much a means as control as becoming. As I have said, you have grown wiser and stronger, but you have maintained distance from the abyss. But to control it, you must first gaze into it to become a piece of it. The abyss cannot be simply read or studied. It is beyond the realm of a mortal mind. To understand it, one must trade, exchange a piece of themselves with the abyss, with the innermost dark.
Aye. So is the cost for power. So is the cost of control. To understand it, part of me must become it.
They say empathy is putting yourselves in the shoes of another. We put ourselves in the shoes of the abyss. Now you can see where our problem is. We've maintained a distance. Our connection is not yet there, and the ritual I'd have you perform would not establish this. But there is another way forward. More trying, but potentially more rewarding. and one that will bridge this gap between you and our innermost powers. But I leave such a decision to yourself.
If you think I am worthy of the test, I will take it. As I have you time and investment for your tutelage and what is necessary to learn. I would, if you think that this would make me ready in order to aid you along your own path and what must be done, then by all means, I am ready for this test. Come of it what may.
Then, without introduction, let us begin. And arms and tendrils begin to appear from the abyss. And will latch onto you. And begin to drag you in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go in willingly, or do you try and resist?
Does Zoya seem to be in control of this? I mean, she doesn't seem to be freaking out like, oh shit. No,
Oh yeah,
is...
no, she seems completely calm, but she doesn't seem to be making any overt gestures that suggest she's willingness.
Well,
It's kind of questionable whether she is in control or not right now. But she doesn't appear to be panicking at all.
yeah, then Menmon will I think by that Memnon would logically conclude that this is the way it's supposed to be, so we'll go willingly.
Ah yes, my purpose is to be the sacrifice to nightmares. I agree. um, do make me a courage check to follow through on that, because you are
Sure.
being dragged into what is effectively hell.
No problem. What's the diff?
7, so you do succeed. So you are able to force yourself to enter willingly. You do not resist. The tendrils in the hands, the claws, they wrap themselves around you. They cover the whole of your body and slowly drag you in to the oubliette, where space seems to lose meaning. You briefly find yourself falling. Till you unceremoniously hit the ground at terminal velocity. It's very painful. You don't seem to bleed. You don't see anything in front of you but writhing shadow. You see, you appear to be in what appear you appear sorry you're in what appears to be a building, even not too similar from uh, not even dissimilar from the basement you were just in, but it appears to be much larger, a hall, um, and it's all entirely obsidian black, and it's constantly changing the angles of motion. Doors are shifting, but they make no noise. You can only hear the whistling sound of the wind through a cave. But along the sort of death wind, uh, you hear Zoya. When you come to understand, then you will be granted the capacity to leave.
I'm sorry, repeat that, Chris.
Um, when you have when you have gained the understanding, only then will you have gained the capacity to leave.
And he's hearing that carried on these death winds.
When you have when you have seen and understood all this darkness has to show you, then you will find your way. Be it in this night or 1,000 later. Hurry forward or take your time.
So,
The result matters. Sorry, the method matters later.
so, given this space, this you said that there's a structure, some kind of building, and is it close in proximity to Memnon, or does it seem like a distance away?
You're in the room. You're in a hall.
Okay.
It's all incredibly black. You can't really make out anything. It only exists for about 30 seconds before it just melts away entirely.
And in that time, if it doesn't seem like there's anything orienting his positioning in whatever world this is,
No.
um, I would guess Memnon will try to reflect on her words, just gazing into the darkness, trying to understand it, trying to join himself with it in, I guess, what would pass for meditation in this era of time.
Roll me. Actually, roll me your. A moment. Roll me your willpower difficulty 6, please.
I'm sorry, willpower, you said?
Roll me your willpower difficulty 6 to meditate on the nature of the abyss.
Okay. So I see two success.
Mm. So as you give yourself a seat, the ground is cold, freezing cold. In fact, you can almost, when you sit on it, it kind of almost freezes up the lower half of your body. But there is no moisture your body doesn't freeze over, it just seizes up. Our entire body begins to feel the pressure of this cold. It's kind of almost like a wasting disease upon your person. You feel the weight of the abyss upon you. When you close your eyes, funnily enough, things become ever so slightly clearer.
Hmm.
But not that much more so. Um, but you do hear something out of far away. Skittering sound. Goes and passes.
I'm sorry, what was that last part you said?
Out of the corner of your hearing, you hear a skittering sound.
Hmm.
Passes by fairly quickly.
Hmm. I think Memnon would try to get some kind of location on it. Feeling that there must be, that now there's another entity here, wherever he is, this realm.
You try and get a location on it, but you don't see its body. We see a kind of these dark red eyes that just shift with the endless blackness that seems to move and swirl around at its own interval. It seems to almost swim along. As you actually find yourself, as you were meditating, you've actually been pulled along without your knowledge, like you've been drifting in the ocean.
Hmm. And you said the effect from Memnon's meditating position, it's the coldness, sort of like creeped up his body, right? Something like that. Um, I would figure Memnon would try to stand if he's a little wobbly. He may just get to his knees.
Hmm. Well, right now you kind of been picked up. You're drifting. It's kind of like you're on like it's kind of like you're
Bless you.
oh,
Bless you.
I don't know. It's like you've been it's like you've been drifting in the ocean without your knowledge. There's nothing to really stand up on.
Hmm.
You can even kind of feel like the sort of the air and liquid tar of the abyss must choke your lungs if you had any capacity to breathe.
Hmm. I think Memnon would make an attempt to, seeing as how direction and gravity is so nebulous in this place, like he would reach a hand out in any direction and just try to bring himself closer, pulling himself. Like it's an experiment, but yeah, yeah. I think he would like to see if he can now exert. force zone in this realm instead of just being dragged along.
Yeah, roll me your willpower. Also, you lose a blood point. And you lose another blood point with this willpower roll. Same diff as normal. Actually, does one more go up? Oh, then you fail. But you gain a sorry, you lose a willpower point, which cannot be recovered so long as you're in the abyss.
Okay.
Um, you do assert yourself. But you are merely dropped. Like you fell through a water tank and are now back on solid ground.
So let's see. So I've lost 1 willpower point and 2 blood points, right?
But something discernible approaches you. It seems completely one with the darkness, like completely black, like you shouldn't be able to see it, but you can. It sticks out, almost as if it's in the foreground, and the darkness has merely become a backdrop.
Memnon would try to address it, saying, "Hail, who goes there?"
One moment.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get this to work. Can you hear me? No. Ba, ba, ba. Okay. It looks at you expressionlessly.
Does it stop, or is it still approaching?
It stops in front of you, just looks down silently. It seems to register you, but it does not talk to you.
Um, Memnon would say, "Are you Herald of the Abyss?"
One moment. Around it, something begins to form, or rather behind it. It appears to be entirely obsidian, a black tinted mirror that does not carry your own reflection.
And is the figure, just to understand, is the figure stepping aside from this mirror, or is it like a becoming that the figure is kind of like morphing into this mirror?
No, the large mirror, like the size of, not really, like 4 people. Like it's big enough to it would be it's as tall as 2 people and about as wide as 4.
Ah, okay. Well, that new looming object would definitely catch Memnon's interest if the before him does nothing, doesn't do anything. Hmm.
We know you.
What was that? Memnon would try to stand up if he could, and walk past this figure, approaching this mirror, if he can do that.
It's Google Chat. Bruce, Google Chat.
Oh, Google Chat.
Look at a anything when I just spoke. Um, but when you attempt to move past it, arms of the abyss engorge you from just every angle and drag you to face the mirror. You'll be dropped down to wounded as you take that many levels of lethal, but it is not soakable. The tendrils just effortlessly pierce your skin.
Okay, fair enough. Memnon
Not one with the dark. Would be puppeteer. Encouraged by your emotions. We do not acknowledge you, but you will acknowledge us.
Memnon will say,
It
"You
melts.
have."
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Memnon would just say, "You have my acknowledgement."
It melts into the mirror. Do you look at the mirror?
Yes. Yes, Menmon will look into the mirror as it does so.
Okay. I'm gonna type something in chat. There you go. This will be a story to tell your friends.
So, what do I have to roll anything?
Roll your willpower standard death if you wish to resist.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
Oh man, it's keeping me in suspense.
Yeah, I know.
Let's get the dice roll back. It's not even giving me the dice roll. It's just saying you've made the command. It's keeping us all at cliffhanger. What is this?
Dice room is the abyss.
It really is. Dice roller 3 now nicknamed to.
Oh, there we go. Oh, wow.
Roller 3. Oh yeah, you look at the mirror and the mirror cracks and it shatters.
That's awesome,
you gain a moment of truth at Kings.
Nice.
You seize control of your fate, and that of which is purported to subvert your own will. The tendrils seem to dissipate. They seem to evaporate. You're left with several holes in you and the pieces of the broken obsidian mirror.
Question. Are these shards still like what's the word? Not I want to say temporal. Are they tangible?
Do you pick one up?
I would like to, if that's allowable.
As you pick one up and look at it, something gazes back at you as you gaze into it. Would you like to roll me Perception Occult, difficulty 8?
Okay. Can I spend a willpower to ignore my wound penalties?
Yes.
Okay. That in the roll, just have a record.
This roll will be repeated until you either botch or succeed.
4.
You succeed.
Okay.
As you look into the mirror for the first time during your trip down here, you can see something. You can see your own face reflected in the shard of this mirror. And you begin to see the faint glimmer of the wall around you. The veneer of the mist, the fog of the abyss has grown thinner. And as you look around, as you look behind you, you can see the very, very, very dim light of the torches at the other end of the room.
And the with the light, is there still the same amount of unnatural shadow in the room with it?
Yes, but it's easier to see through.
Okay.
It's still
Okay.
dark, it's still thick blackness, but you can see through it. Almost in a sort of translucent, semi-transparent fashion.
Okay. Does and Memnon recognizes this, or is he still, or is like the shadow still kind of like?
You recognize those two torches. They were very distinct. They were the only aspects of light in the room in which the oubliette was located. The oubliette itself, you can begin to see the outside of it, but only at the front end of the room. As you look back, you don't see anything at all. You just see a very dark, shifting black pathway that will lead you to wherever you want it to go.
He would try to return to Zoya just so yeah, he can let her know that he's well and alive, for what that counts as vampires.
You begin to walk out of the oubliette, and the oubliette silently parts for you. You do not see Zora in the room. You're also quite hungry. You've lost 3 blood points now.
Yes, should I roll my self-control?
There's nothing to feed on in this area.
Okay. But I recognize, okay, so I recognize the torches and the room that I'm entering, and do I recognize it too?
Yeah, you're back in, you're, as hypnotists say, back in the room.
Okay. Does Menmon feel sleepy? He doesn't know what time it is.
Do you have Celestial Attunement as a merit?
No, and I wanted to take that at character creation before. Wish I had, but no.
Well, you have no idea what time it is, but you don't feel particularly tired.
Okay, so at least I could assume it's night, maybe? Memnon's a little perturbed by that. Didn't quite imagine that Zoya would have left him here like that, but he'll wind his way up back towards the corridor, and the door that separated him from the main room, he'll just kind of peek out to see if there's anybody there.
There is light coming from the study, which is basically the room immediately up from the basement, like they're connected.
Candlelight, I would assume, or
Pardon?
candlelight, I would assume.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, you can see just beneath the door, like just soft orange light emanating.
Yeah, he'll actually start like calling out for Zoya. Hopefully, someone hears this guy that's all of a sudden just been abandoned in their dungeon.
You call out, you open the door, and you see Zoya. She appears to be writing something. She hears the door open. She puts the her quill down. 4 nights, less than a week. Not bad, Menmon.
Memnon would look dumbfounded. 4 nights? Down there for 4 nights?
Yes, to be honest, after the third, I usually presume initiate's dead.
It's funny, but in character.
God, I thought you'd passed away. It is not unusual for certain initiates to be subsumed by the abyss, never to return or to become lost on their way. It happens even to trained journeymen such as myself.
Memnon will slowly approach her. If he was to still have that shard, he'll put it on the table before her. A trinket to show proof that I have become, I suppose, myself and what stood against me there.
What is this?
It was a piece of only what I could describe as a obsidian mirror. It took hold of me, and it tried to break me into its will, but I resisted. When I did, it shattered. I saw these still remain. I thought perhaps this was something as token proof that I did not flee, but I stood my ground.
Fascinating. I've heard of entities within the abyss attempting to tempt mystics to turn from their own road, become part of the road of the abyss. I've never heard of them using instruments. In fact, to my knowledge, the abyss is largely, if not entirely, immaterial. Unless something constructed matter out of it. But I know of no spirit of the abyss that can do this.
Memnon will endeavor to try and describe what he saw, the creature that he saw. He'll tell her that it spoke to him. And the phrase that it uttered that we do not acknowledge you, but you should acknowledge us, is what Memnon would say to her. That is what they told me. And while I agreed to their acknowledgement being in their realm, I don't know why, but I suppose they wanted me more docile, more like-minded to themselves. That I could not stand for.
You may have inadvertently accepted their offer, this is interesting. I've never heard of a spirit that can do this before. I'll have to study the matter. You seem to have come home with far more than just knowledge of the abyss. But you have proven yourself in a way I didn't anticipate.
Well, I hope you that pleases you, that perhaps you've made a wise investment in an apprentice of myself.
We're certainly ready to begin learning our rituals in proper. And I'll have to study this strange mirror.
If I had known that it was so uncommon, I would have brought more.
You
Perhaps
said
another
it.
time.
It is quite all right. I don't expect anyone to come out of the abyss at all, honestly, let alone with the clothes on their back and a treasure from its vault. Yes. I'll begin instructing you in due course, Menmon. Well done. Well done indeed. I'll look into what kind of spirit attempted to... You said it attempted to subvert your will, turn you from...
I follow the road of kings.
Like
I
myself, yes.
yes. I felt that it wanted to bring me into something much darker, something more supplicant unto its way of thinking. Out of character, I'm not sure if Memnon is aware of the Road of the Abyss. So
You have Lasombra law. You're vaguely aware that abyss mystics are a thing, and they're weird and creepy, and follow their own morality separate from the other clans.
okay, then he'll chalk it up to perhaps they've wanted me to become a follower of the Abyss and proper, with their dogma and their leanings.
Hmm. Not too unlike my sire, then. I have met other abyss mystics who've been far less confrontational. In fact, they usually prefer it. I believe my sire may have been an outlier. But usually these... I'm still attempting to wrap my head around a material item residing within the abyss, unless it was left behind by another traveler. Perhaps a mortal magician or another mystic. Then why would the spirit have it?
Oh, Zoya, there was much of this. It was he'll describe the dimensions of the mirror. We'll just say that he only picked up the shard because he didn't think it was commonplace. He thought perhaps her herself had undergone this trial.
I do not know much of spiritual magics relating to the abyss. How spirits, in fact, utilize their unique abilities to work in tandem with their environment, that is, the abyss. I know much more of abyss mysticism, however, and our particular traits, and I am aware of mortal magicians' capabilities to turn lead into gold and such. I can tell you, if this were the work of one of our own, only a master mystic could have possibly created something like this. As for a spirit, I'm not entirely sure. I may have to conjure one up and ask.
See.
My side did leave a great deal of information behind for me to study and expand upon, so I'll look into that. If I find anything on the matter, I'll let you know.
If it is all right with you, may I conduct some more scientific studies upon this material? Being a rock of some substance, you can understand as a smith, I am very, very intrigued by its property as well.
Of course, it is all yours. All I ask is that I may have my turn studying it intact, if that would be okay.
Ah, yes. As you said, it has been a few days. I have business to attend to. I'm sure my ghouls are worried.
Yes, they came down here several times demanding your return as if I had kidnapped you.
I hope that they have not dishonored themselves and breached any protocol.
Well, they were quite confrontational, but they were sent away. It is quite fine. I understand it is the nature of Bloodbond of ghouls to be overly protective of their master. I take no offense from this. In fact, I expected it. I was well prepared.
Very well. So, yes, please have the shard for your study first, and when you are done with it, I'll come and conduct my own research, which, of course, I'll share with you what I gain from it.
Of course, thank you. I have an idea on what to teach you first. It is fairly simple.
And as Memnon kind of like still holds his wounds, maybe taking a seat somewhere.
Yeah, she doesn't really seem to register the fact that you're horribly injured. And hungry. So do I. Actually, do make me a self-control roll, because she is someone you can eat.
Yeah, that, oh man. Oh God, it's always a 10 and a 1.
Uh-oh. Oh man, you lose. Oh, that's bad. Did you not spend willpower?
If I can, I will.
I already rolled. Oh dear. Okay. You go on a frenzy. Roll your initiative, sir. As you kind of just... You've just been fidgeting this entire time, and then something just snaps.
Well, fairly well.
It looks like she's well fed. Your beast can tell, can smell it. She's bloated.
Yes. Let's see. 7 plus 14. 9.
Oh, that's. I'm not sure she's going to beat you, to be honest. Oh, she gets. You have higher dex and wit, so you may go first.
Okay. This is my turn. I would like to spend a willpower point to kind of hold it in check and maybe utter. Yeah. I'm really hungry, Soya. Could we eat before we continue this conversation?
Okay.
All right. I'll put that in the chat. So that is a total of 3 willpower I've spent so far in this scene.
Yep. Also roll your self-control. Because if you get 5 successes, you come out of frenzy. It basically 5 cumulative successes. A botch reduces you back to 0. It is possible you may not actually have to roll your road here if you manage to get out of frenzy and keep spending willpower to resist. Okay, so that's 1 success. The willpower point you spent was keeping yourself in control, so you only get the 1 success. You can't spend 2 willpower points a turn. Um, and Zoya will look with alarm. She's going to do something. She gets to do this for basically free because she is really good. This thing, well, she has 9 dice to this. Okay, so four abyssal limbs rise up from your shadow, and are going to grab you next turn. She will cut her hand and just ram blood down your throat. Honestly, you can gain a blood point. Next turn, do you want to spend all power to remain in control?
God, I'm getting really low on that willpower, though.
Yeah, I'm just going to check to see if you're in breach of the road regardless. Because you are preventing your frenzy. You're in the grip of frenzy, but you're preventing it.
Yeah.
You haven't given into. It says giving into your beast such as frenzy, and you haven't given into your beast. You are spending willpower to control your actions until you have no willpower left. So, yeah, do you want to do so again?
What would bring me out of the hunger? All right, I have even.
She has basically what Zoya did is she summoned limbs and basically cut her wrist and basically shoved it in your mouth.
Okay.
So you can choose to ingest her vita if you want. You can gain up to 3 a turn.
Now, would that amount bring Memnon out of the?
It would bring you out of hunger. You'd still be in frenzy, but if you spend a willpower point, I'll say the difficulty to come out of frenzy will be actually I'd say you're out of hunger at this point. But yeah, because the object which is causing your frenzy is, I'd say just make me a straight self-control difficulty 5 for tasting blood. But other than that, yeah, because the object of what your hunger is gone, so there's no reason for you to frenzy anymore.
Okay.
You're going back up to 6 blood, which would be enough to sate the beast temporarily.
There we go. Okay. To success.
Okay, you make it. And you don't have to roll your road because you did spend the willpower point to control every single one of your actions. Well, 1 point bounces Zoya, but other than that, she actually, and she was kind of driven to her knees as you kind of just lashed your fangs onto her wrist.
Oh shit! He's got the grip of the damned. I forgot. She's not going to feel.
Yeah, that is not the sort of. She was like, "Well, at least it would be." Oh no, this is not.
Oh no!
This is and she screams out in pain. She needs to roll self. She should have spent the willpower point, but she'll tear herself away from you. She just says, "What in God's name is wrong with your fangs?"
As Memnon comes,
They're almost hooked. Are you sure you're okay, mate?
It seems my fangs betray no kindness or ecstasy. As Memnon's trying to lick up all the blood from his mouth and probably whatever skin's hanging in between his teeth.
At least you did not give in to your beast. I would have at least understood it given the circumstance, as grave as it were to be.
Perhaps I should have announced my hunger to you the moment I stepped in the room.
Yes, well, either way, both of us understand that succumb to it is inexcusable.
Indeed. I am sorry that I have put you in danger.
I can at least understand the circumstances under which you did. In any case, I'm no longer hungry, and I'm still most sated. But I think it would be best if we return to our own duties for this evening.
Indeed. Thank you again for your tutelage. And if you do need to contact me right away, well, you've already met my ghouls. I will announce to them that your presence is one to be welcomed.
I appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Memnon would give her a nod and a bow, and yeah, he'll see. He might ask her for one thing, something just to cover himself until he gets home, because considering level of blood, needing to heal wounds and everything, doesn't want to attract any attention on the way
She'll
out.
let you cross dress, sure. she'll give you something proper. She does have like male laborers, so not many, but she has some.
A bed sheet would be fine. He's not
Yeah.
fancy.
Not a bed sheet, but yeah, she'll give you a male servant or a male escort's shirt.
Fine. Good enough. Yeah, so Memnon would head back and come and calm down his worrying ghouls. If there's anything that they have to tell him, address it.
Um, no, nothing new. They just talk about how worried they were for you and they thought you had been kidnapped.
He won't tell them about the abyss, but he'll just tell them there are things out there that demand my time more than you could imagine. This may become this may happen infrequently, but you will know my death. You feel it.
They will apologize and heed your words. And I think Menmon can take some well-deserved rest. That's where we end this scene. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you all next time.